So the next use is when we use se for passive voice. What does that mean? What is passive voice? In English, we use the passive voice when we want to focus on the action itself rather than the person that is performing the action. For example, instead of saying someone writes a letter, we could say the letter is written. The action is what is important here, not the person who is doing it. So, for example, I can say that the letter is already written without mentioning who did the action. In Spanish, to do this passive voice construction, we're going to use the word se, especially when we do not need to mention who is responsible for the action. Let's look at an example. Imagine you're walking through a neighborhood and you see a sign that says, se vende casa. What does that mean? It means house for sale, or that a house is being sold. That is the passive voice construction. Se is used here to explain that the house is for sale without saying who is selling it. We don't care about the seller. We don't need information about the seller. We just need to know that the action is being done. So we're going to say se vende casa. The fact that we're using se helps us focus on the action itself rather than on the person doing the action. So when should we use se for passive voice? It is especially common in signs, instructions, or situations where the person doing the action isn't important or is unknown. For example, se busca camarero. What does that mean? A waiter is wanted, or we're looking for a waiter. You can also see these signs in restaurants. For example, we are hiring, right? We would never say we are hiring. That would be estamos contratando. That's not something that we would use for signs. We would say se busca and the position. We're going to use the passive voice for this type of signs. Another example, se prohíbe fumar, meaning smoking is prohibited. Generally, we would say no smoking in English, right? But we would not say no fumando. That is a common mistake students often make. We do not say no fumando. We could say no fumar sometimes, but generally we're going to see se prohíbe fumar. Another example, se necesita ayuda. Help is needed. Like we're hiring, se necesita ayuda. These phrases are all about the action, not the doer. Now, a common mistake is forgetting to match the verb with the noun. For example, se vende casa. In that phrase, the word casa is a singular noun. We use vende because it is a singular noun. But in the phrase se venden casas, casas is plural. So we have to go with the other conjugation for venden with an N because the noun is in plural. The verb needs to agree with the noun it's referring to. Now it's your turn. How would you say books are sold here using se? That would be se venden libros. Notice the verb venden agrees with libros, which is plural. In a future unit, we're going to see more about the passive voice in different tenses, but for now, you just need to know that sometimes we will see se with passive voice.